In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I utilize some easy to use AI software such as Blockade Labs to make animations and game assets for my gamedev jam. So without any delay, let's jump straight in. I hope you enjoyed this video. And first off, I'm gonna start box modeling my character. Usually I do this box modeling method because it's easier than going for the sculpting workflow where I have to actually retopologize the character. This way I can just simply have deformable topology and some good details on the character as well. I've done this in multiple videos on my channel, you can check them out if you want. And what I'm doing here basically is determining the basic shape of the head, where you want the back of the head to be larger than the front, you know, the basic stuff. Now I'm going to extrude in the mouth and smooth it out. And I'm going to select the innermost boxes, scale them down, and extrude them inwards. This will constitute my mouth. And as for the eyes, well, the same thing. I'm gonna make an eye mask, extrude it inwards, and shape the eyes of my character. This is the loop that goes around the eyes. It's way easier this way than going for sculpting workflow, as I said, because this is a very simple character that does not warrant any sculpting, and I'm on a tight timeline, so there's a deadline, only 10 days, and we're all working class people, so we need to get this character out as fast as possible. And here I am just shaping where the eyes are going to be, and I decided to add another loop cut so I can make the eyes. And I'm not sure I'm going to add any facial deformation. This is just some facial details. I'm adding these loops just in case we need to deform the character. And anyway, in the end of the video, I'm not gonna be deforming the face of the character, not even rigging it, but this is good enough to be rigged. And the nose, I'm gonna keep it in between the eye loop cut and the mouth loop cut. This is what it's supposed to be. This is what I usually end up with some tweaking here and there. As you see, the eyes are very simple, as are the ears, the nose and the mouth. And as a general rule of thumb, I repeat this a lot in my videos, but you need to have one eye between the two eyes. This is a good proportion. And the larger your eyes, the cuter the character would look like. I wanted to make a child-friendly looking character. This game, as I understand, is basically a relaxed building game, so I had to give him larger pupils by selecting the innermost circles and using proportional edit to scale them up. As for the eyebrows, what I basically did was just Shift D to duplicate some of the topology and shape it as if it were the eyebrows. Now I think I'm ready to start adding some simple materials. But first, I'm going to shape the eyebrows to be closer to the face. And even my texturing method was very simple here. I used Substance Painter, but I kept everything very simple. I'm gonna show you later how I textured this character in Substance Painter. I gave him two eyes, the innermost eye and the outer eye. And as for the hair, I basically extruded out. I Shift deduplicated and extruded out parts of the head to use as the hair. And shaped it to be a really basic haircut, really. And added a solidify modifier to it in order to give it more shape. Make sure you have your modifiers at the right place in the stack, otherwise your character will look different and the normals will be all messed up. Give him some dark brown hair, just as a block out for the hair. Rigging this is going to be very simple. Now that I'm satisfied with the basic body shape, I'm ready to move on with the hands and the lower body. And here's a quick tip for you. The 3D cursor is your friend in Blender. It's something that's missing in a lot of other 3D software. If you place the 3D cursor where you want the legs to be extruded, then press R to rotate, as I'm doing here. This is a very simple way to extrude down the legs in an anatomically correct way. And always make sure wherever you want the formation to be, you're gonna have to leave at least 3 loop cuts and make a diamond shape. In this scenario, I did not make a diamond shape. The animations that I'm going to give for this character are basically the idle, the walk cycle, and the run cycle. And they're very easy to do. As for the clothes, I basically duplicated parts of the character, such as the lower body for the pants or the shorts, as I'm going to do here. And the upper body used for the shirt. In the end, it all came out very well. And you should go around your model, making sure nothing is intercalating with the base mesh, which I'm going to delete because this is a WebGL game and you don't really need that much topology there. And you can add loop cuts wherever you want to make some definitions, like the collar and the sleeves, parts in the pants where it deforms or where it meets the shoes. And I'm just going in between sculpting mode and edit mode to determine how my character's clothes are going to look like. Proportional edit and the grab tool are very useful. And here's what I basically did for the texturing part. A basic albedo, some variations, and ambient occlusion and curve information to add some highlights and also some more variation to make the character look more lifelike. And the most important part is the color zones, blue, yellow, and red. I didn't put much emphasis on the blue because he doesn't have a beard. It's a young character. And this is the final version of my character. And honestly, here I didn't use any AI tools. I don't really need them in this particular instance. AI tools are basically just to do the tedious things that you don't want to do, or if you want to quicken the process, they come in really handy, as I'm going to show you later on in the video. I use them for animation. Now I'm going to give a simple rig for my character, then export it to the first AI tool that I'm going to use, which is cascadeur. Cascadeur is basically an AI assisted animation software. I'm going to show you how to use it. Here I have my character and I'm setting it up for a walk cycle, a very simple walk cycle. I locked in the axis of the abdomen and the head. And as you see here, I'm just moving the foot forward and the hands backwards. And the character is locking into a stance that, like, it makes sense for a walking cycle. The AI understands what I'm trying to do. All I just did was hold the body parts and put them where I want, and I'm just going between in my reference sheet and cascadeur and put it in the the keyframes that I need. Here's basically, I believe, the contact pose. And I'm trying to add more stylization to his walk to make the character more distinct, and adding in more keyframes. And by the end, I'm going to interpolate between each keyframe, and cascadeur does the rest of the work for me, honestly. It's basically a one-click animation software. And you might think that I could do a better job in Blender with more polishing, but this is a WebGL game that I'm going to do in 10 days, and I wanted to take a shortcut for it, and this is what AI is useful for, really. Doing things that you don't deem necessary to put much emphasis on. And as you see, the green guy here is where my character has physics added. This is the run cycle. I'm very satisfied with this one. Very natural looking. As natural as this character could get. I love the head bob. And this is the idle animation. Unfortunately, this was the most difficult one for me to achieve because I only had 100 keyframes to use within Cascadeur free version. Now the second software I'm going to use is one so I can make HDRIs. I'm going to leave a link to it down below. Basically, I write in the prompt that I want, then I draw in with my fantastic skills the landscape that I want my objects to be in. Here I'm drawing some perfectly painted mountains, some trees, something that resembles a house and a silo. Yes, that's a silo, that's not anything else, and this is the final result. Now from here on out, I can take this into Stable Diffusion and stylize it even further to come out with something that I'm satisfied with. So in Stable Diffusion, basically I'm going to use ControlNet and I'm going to set tiling on and leave a simple prompt to make something that I'm satisfied with. Then back in Blender, I'm going to start working on the rocks of the character and how I made the simple low poly rocks without having to sculpt is that I added a displacement modifier to a subdivided cube, scaled the lower parts of it to 0 on the z-axis, then went in and started using the sculpt tools and the proportional edit tool to add in some variations to make it look more organic. Here are some rocks that I made as well with the matte cap on. I'm gonna go in and add more variations to each and single one of them. Make some medium-sized rocks and some smaller rocks. Can add loop cuts to them. Here I shift duplicated some of the rocks and scaled them on the X and the Z axes to make them look different to the rest. And as I said, some loop cuts here and there can make them look really different. Whenever you have a model with low topology, any loop cut and definition that you add can go a long way. As I scale it on the Z, it's basically a different prefab now. The smooth tool worked perfectly here as well. And this is the final result. Didn't need to add anything else to it. And by the end of all of this, I was left with this. I wish I had more say on the environment other than the HDRI and the props that I made here and there using Stable Diffusion and other softwares. For something that I made in 10 days, this is quite decent. I mean, I wish I had even more say in how the game's supposed to be. This is basically a building game where you do nothing. And yeah, I'm gonna let the lead take the responsibility for the environments here. I won't take that away from you, buddy. Sure. Well, this was it. This was how I used some AI tools to help me make game assets for a game jam in under 10 days. I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching. See you in the next one.